You've got 3 hours. That's how long it takes, on average, for the first break-in to happen after a major blackout. Not 24. Not overnight. 3. By then, phones stop charging, alarms fail, and police, they're already overwhelmed. In 2024 alone, over 41,000 burglaries were reported within the first day of power loss events across the U.S., and that's during peacetime. Imagine a full grid collapse. If you think your neighbors will knock first, think again. During the 2023 Texas freeze, 63% of home invasions were committed by people who lived within 4 blocks. When the lights go out, so does the illusion of community. In this video, I'm showing you 10 silent mistakes that get your house looted the very first night. Mistakes you're probably making right now without realizing it. And if you think it's something obvious, like don't leave the door open, you're already in trouble. Let's get into it. 10. Rooftop solar panels or visible backup tech. You want to scream, "I'm prepared" to every looter, scavenger, and desperate soul within a 5-block radius? Mount a shiny solar array on your roof. Or better yet, stack some shiny lithium battery bricks near your garage. That'll do it. Because in a blackout, high-tech means high value. It means power, refrigeration, security, and worst of all, stability. And when your neighborhood turns into a pressure cooker of anxiety, the guy with solar becomes the fantasy jackpot. According to a 2022 report from the Institute for Energy Economics, homes with visible rooftop solar during extended power outages saw a 23% higher chance of break-in or forced entry in high-crime areas. Why? Because you've already told the story before they step onto your lawn. We still have power when you don't. You think tech equals safety. It doesn't. It equals attraction, especially if you leave a charge controller blinking or a battery fan humming on a quiet night. And trust me, the desperate notice. During Puerto Rico's grid collapse in 2017, solar-rich homes had to be physically guarded or disguised just to survive the looting phase. So what's your counter? Obscurity. First, stop advertising. If your solar rig is already up, paint it matte, net it with camo tarp, or cover it in debris netting during a long-term grid down. Second, hide inverters, batteries, and charge controllers behind walls or inside furniture. Third, never let solar be your only system. Diversify. Old-school hand tools, gravity-fed water, propane cookers that look salvaged. You want to look like you're scraping by, not leading the clean energy revolution, because in a blackout, looking advanced is looking elite. And elite means exploitable. Tech makes life easier, but it also makes you easier to find, to envy, and to justify raiding. Remember, in the dark, the smartest house gets burned down first. 9. The sound of children playing. Sounds wholesome, right? Children laughing in the front yard, kicking a ball, singing nursery rhymes. In a normal world, that's beautiful. In a blackout, that's a tactical error, huge, because while you're clinging to some shred of normalcy, everyone else hears exactly what you're trying to hide: stability, family structure, and the fact that you're keeping your kids fed, hydrated, and entertained. And that's not just noise, that's data. Data that says, we've got food, we've got water, and we're holding it together. This isn't theoretical. In post-typhoon regions of the Philippines, like Tacloban in 2013, aid workers reported that families with visible or audible children were looted at 2.4x the rate of childless homes. Why? Because kids are noisy, and people assumed if a child wasn't crying from hunger, then that home had resources. One barking laugh from a well-fed kid is like sonar ping in a silent battlefield. And if that kid's holding a toy or wearing fresh clothes or just looking too healthy, you're screwed. So how do you manage it? You don't shut them up. You train them. Quiet games, card decks, no bouncing balls, no yelling tag, no singing in the backyard. Set clear rules like you're in a submarine. Sound discipline isn't just for grown-ups anymore. Second, camouflage their appearance. Ratty clothes, smudged faces, nothing new or flashy. Third, no visible toys. A plastic truck in the yard becomes proof that someone's still doing Walmart runs, or at least has batteries. And lastly, you prepare them psychologically. Tell them why quiet matters, Why hiding matters. In a crisis, kids are either your stealthiest asset or your loudest liability. And when night falls and that giggle echoes across a street full of desperation, don't be surprised if someone starts tracing the sound. In a blackout, innocence is a luxury, and luxuries invite danger. 8. Deliveries, drop-offs, and outsiders. Visiting. Here's one. Most preppers never think about until it's too late. You're prepped, you're quiet, you're dark. But then, boom! A friend swings by just to check on you. A delivery guy drops a package off that you forgot about. Your niece shows up crying, asking for help. And now the whole block knows you're a lifeline. You're not invisible anymore. You're the hub, and hubs get raided. You think I'm exaggerating? In South Africa during the 2021 unrest, communities that stayed isolated avoided most violence. But any house that became a drop site got looted within 48 hours. In some cases, just one visitor a day was enough to start gossip. People tracked movement, patterns, conversations. Same in post-earthquake Turkey 2023, homes where neighbors saw supplies being handed out were soon labeled relief targets. That's code for hit them first, they've got stuff. And what makes it worse? It's not just that people come, it's that they leave talking. Or worse, they come back with someone else. Maybe someone desperate. Or dangerous. The minute you share your preparedness, you're not a prepper anymore. You're a provider. And people don't ask providers politely during a blackout. They take. So how do you fix it? 1. No foot traffic. None. If someone's coming over, make them park blocks away. No cars in front of your house. 2. Meet people elsewhere. Don't distribute from your front door. Do it behind a gas station dumpster or in a church lot. 3. Wear a different set of ragged clothes when you go out. Change shoes, change posture, look beaten. Make them forget who helped them. And last, cut off non-essential contact. You're not the Red Cross. You're not FEMA. You're a ghost with enough to survive, but only if you stop advertising your generosity. In a blackout, one visitor can be a scout, and scouts come back with wolves. 7. Cooking with fire or smoke that rises. There's something primal about it, isn't there? The crackle of wood, the heat of a flame, the sizzle of a pan. You think you're surviving smart, using off-grid skills, cooking over open flame. But here's the brutal truth. In a blackout, smoke is a flare. It's a column in the sky that says, we've got food, we've got fuel. Follow the smell. You might as well run a spotlight straight from your roof to the next hungry person's eyes. Because when modern infrastructure collapses, scent and smoke travel further than ever before. With no traffic, no HVAC, and no industry noise or emissions to mask them, your little backyard grill becomes a beacon of wealth. Let's get specific. In the 2023 crisis in Lebanon, where rolling blackouts turned entire districts dark, aid workers reported looting mobs, tracking smoke trails back to family homes, cooking simple lentil soup. One father tried cooking rice on a balcony barbecue. He had his front door kicked in that same night. The reason? The plume. In still air, smoke from a fire pit can be visible for over 3 miles, especially in winter when cool air pushes it down before it rises. And if it's food smoke, even worse. That's not just visible, it's deliciously identifiable. So how do you fix it? Stop cooking over open flame entirely unless you've got concealment. That means underground rocket stoves. Yes, dig a Dakota fire hole, 2 chambers, vented airflow, low smoke output, or solar ovens. Almost no emissions, no smell, and nearly invisible if built right. Got to cook over gas? Do it inside with vent traps. Hang wet sheets, use activated carbon fans at exits, and cook at dusk when air movement and light coverage give you a shield. Also, no wood chips, no hickory, no pine. Stick to dry, seasoned hardwood if you must. It burns cleaner, signals less. And here's the real secret: boil, don't fry. Steam doesn't stink. Sear marks get you noticed. If you can smell it, so can they. And when they are desperate, the scent of stew is an invitation to violence. 6. Glowing windows. from devices or screens. Most people think they're safe if the lights are off. But here's the part they forget. Your screens aren't dark. That glow from your phone, your laptop, your kid's Nintendo Switch, that's not a subtle flicker. It's a lighthouse in the abyss. Especially at night. Especially through a blackout curtain that's not sealed tight. People don't realize this. Even a single pixel-bright device throws enough light to silhouette a person from inside a house. And once you're silhouetted, you're identified. As human, as active, as interesting. Want proof? In 2019, researchers at MIT ran a low-light surveillance test in a blackout-simulated urban zone. They found that screen glow from a single tablet was visible through double curtains from over 100 yards away. That's insane. Now factor in how desperate people become when they haven't eaten in days, when their phones are dead, and they see someone else still scrolling. To them, that isn't a tablet, it's proof of life, of energy, of security. And you just painted a glowing bullseye on your chest. It gets worse. Screens don't just emit visible light. They also leak high-frequency electrical noise that some ham radio operators can track in low EM zones. Far-fetched? Maybe. But in a collapse scenario, you better believe some opportunists will learn fast. Now throw in the psychological factor. You're in the dark, scrolling Twitter, trying to keep up with what's going on, and someone watching sees you calm, informed, lit up. That makes you dangerous or valuable. Either way, you're not ignored. Here's your fix. 1. Cover every window. Not just with blackout curtains. Use layers, foil, tape, towels. Think submarine, not bedroom. 2. Use red screen filters on every device. Not night mode, actual deep red overlays or plastic shields that cut visibility down to nothing. 3. Lower brightness to 5% or less and hold screens flat, never facing outward. And 4. Set time limits. Every minute of glow is a risk exposure. If you need to use a device, do it hidden, fast, and quiet. In the dark, even a screen becomes a siren, and sirens call attention. And attention gets people killed. 5. Moving at night. When everyone else is still. You ever walk through your house at night? No lights on, no sound, just trying to get from one room to the next, and still somehow every floorboard creaks like a shotgun blast? Now imagine doing that during a blackout, when the world outside is silent as a graveyard and every footstep, every shadow, every flick of a curtain is visible from blocks away. Because here's what nobody tells you. Motion betrays you. Even if you're not making noise, even if you're pitch black, if you're the only one moving in a dead zone, you stick out like a deer in an empty field. There's a term used in surveillance, movement signature. In low-light environments, our brains are hardwired to detect motion even faster than light or color. It's a survival reflex. It's why snipers train to freeze, not hide, because stillness is invisibility. And in a blackout, that rule gets flipped. You may be sneaking out to feed chickens, rotate fuel, check your perimeter. But to a neighbor with a hungry stomach and a dark house, you're not doing chores. You're operating. You're active. You're resourced. In Ukraine's occupied zones in 2022, locals reported that homes where people moved frequently at night, shadows on curtains, quick dashes to outbuildings, were presumed to have generators, fuel, or food stores. Several were looted based solely on observed motion. That's how sensitive it gets. Here's how you fix it. First, pre-stage everything before nightfall. If you need water, gather it. If you need to feed animals, do it early. You don't want to open a door after 8 p.m. Second, kill reflective surfaces. Duct tape over glass panes, polish-free shoes, nothing glossy. Third, if you must move, low, slow, and covered, think about how cats move. Quiet pads, deliberate steps, stay near walls. And for the love of everything, don't use headlamps or flashlights in a windowed room, even with blackout curtains. Movement plus faint light equals a silhouette. A silhouette is a story, and stories spread. At night, stillness is survival. Move wrong and you're writing your own invitation to get cleaned out before sunrise. 4. Burning candles or oil lamps. Without full light discipline, you think a candle is harmless. It's old school, it's analog, it's romantic, but let me tell you something that will make your blood run cold. In a power outage, a candle is a flare gun for looters. It flickers, it moves, it casts shadows across windows, walls, and ceilings, shadows that dance and hint and promise. And people don't just see it, they fixate on it. Because in the post-electric silence of a blackout, the human brain is desperate for signs of warmth, comfort, and, most of all, food. And a candlelight silhouette says one thing: someone in there is still okay. Let's talk hard data. In Nigeria, during the 2021 power rationing crisis, robberies increased by 34% in neighborhoods where candles or kerosene lamps were visible through windows. Looters watched for them like hawks. Why? Because candles meant someone had supplies. Maybe oil, maybe lighters, maybe food, maybe meds. Either way, it was better than nothing. In multiple cases, the looters weren't even armed. They just waited until the candle went out, then knocked. And when no one answered, they pushed in. So what's the move? First, stop relying on candles entirely unless you're deep inside the house with zero visibility. Second, if you must use open flame, contain the light. Build small shadow boxes. Think shoebox lined with black felt where only the inside is lit. You open it to use light. You close it immediately. Third, control reflections. Light bounces off glass, tile, even your eyeballs. Tape over photos. Flip mirrors backward. Cover walls in dark sheets or towels. And never ever light anything near a window, even if you think it's covered. Curtains move. Seams leak. Someone outside will see it. And once they know where the light is, they know where you are. Light is comforting, but that's what makes it dangerous. In a blackout, comfort is the loudest signal you can send. You want fire? Fine. But never forget, fire attracts. And what it attracts isn't friendly. 3. Asking for help, giving help, or just talking too much. In a grid-down crisis, conversation is currency. Every word you say gets spent, and the wrong sentence gets you looted. Fast. You ever heard someone say, "Loose lips sink ships"? They were talking about war. But this is worse. This is war with your neighbors, your cousin, the guy you used to wave at when you walked your dog. And if you slip, even once, you've told the wrong person that you're worth robbing. Let's break it down. The first 24 hours of a blackout, most people are still processing. They're nervous, maybe a little hungry, but not yet desperate. That's when your guard's down too. You think, "I'll check in with so-and-so," or "let's share some food just for now." And maybe you do. Maybe you say, "We've got a few extra cans," or "we're using solar," or worst of all, "we'll be fine." Now stop right there, because those words, they echo. That neighbor tells their spouse tells their brother, and suddenly you're the guy who's got it all figured out. In Bosnia, during the 1990 siege of Sarajevo, aid workers documented a chilling pattern. Individuals who offered help in the first 48 hours were often looted or extorted by day 3. Why? Because once you give, you become responsible. Once you talk, you become remembered. And in a blackout, memory is a roadmap for hungry people. So how do you shut it down? First, don't talk. Not about what you have, not about what you need. When someone asks, "How are you guys holding up?" you answer, "Same as you, hanging in there." That's it. No details. Second, stop giving handouts, not unless you're 100% ready to vanish the next day. Third, never ask for help unless it's life or death. You reveal a weakness, they'll trace it back to your stash, your meds, your plan. Silence is not rude. In a blackout, it's protection. Keep your mouth shut. Because when the lights go out, information isn't power. It's bait. 2. Keeping a routine. Same lights, same meals, same habits. You know what gets people robbed faster than wealth? Predictability. In a total blackout, the world turns feral fast, but your brain doesn't. It clings to routine like a drowning man clings to driftwood. You cook dinner at 6, walk. You take out the trash at 9, walk. You feed the dog at the same spot the same time with the same scoop. You're trying to hold on to normal. But what you're really doing, laying out a map for thieves. Here's what looters love more than food: patterns. Because a pattern is a schedule. A schedule tells them when you're distracted, when you're moving, when you're not at the front door. In Venezuela, during the 2019 grid collapse, organized looting crews specifically targeted homes where daily movements repeated. Water collection at 10, gone by 10:05, trash out at dusk, robbed 5 minutes later. One family was hit every Tuesday because that's when the dad always checked the generator alone. You need to break your rhythm. First, stop acting like it's Tuesday. There is no Tuesday. There is only now and not now. Eat at different hours. Vary your noise levels. Change the rooms you use. Randomize everything you can. Second, change your lighting schedule. Don't switch your lantern on just because it's getting dark. If anything, wait. Let your eyes adjust. Use dim red light. Don't cook when it feels like dinner. Cook when the sky is loud or the wind is moving. Mask your scent and sound in chaos. Third, watch your body language. People who aren't starving walk upright. They move with purpose. They look clean. If you brush your teeth and fix your hair like nothing happened, congratulations. You've just broadcasted resilience. And resilience in a blackout looks like hoarding to the unprepared. Final warning: don't let your dog keep its schedule either. If it expects food at the same time every day, others will too. Invisibility requires unpredictability. If they can guess your next move, they'll guess your next mistake. And in a world without power, one mistake is all it takes. Here we go. The final one. The number one mistake that gets your house looted in the first night of a blackout. And it's not about what you own, it's about how you act when everyone else is losing their minds. Showing calm. When everyone else is panicking. You ever walk into a room where everyone's terrified, but one person looks totally fine? That person instantly becomes the center of attention. People stare, they whisper, they wonder, why aren't they scared? What do they know that we don't? That's you during a blackout. Because when panic spreads like a virus, calm looks like control, and control looks like resources. During the 2022 heat wave in Texas, rolling blackouts hit neighborhoods for days. Police reports later noted a 42% jump in break-ins in the first 48 hours, and most of the victims. Families that stayed calm and organized while others were freaking out. Neighbors noticed who wasn't melting down, who didn't run outside yelling, "Does anyone have power?" Who didn't bang on car doors or pace in the street. Those people became the suspects, the ones who must have something. Because panic equalizes everyone, and anyone not panicking stands out like a lighthouse in a storm. Humans are tribal animals. In chaos, we look for alphas. And in a blackout, the alpha isn't the strongest, it's the person who seems fine. The person whose voice stays level, whose house stays quiet, whose kids aren't crying. In 2019, after the Venezuelan grid collapse, psychologists studying mob behavior noted something chilling. Groups often targeted the calmest-looking homes first because calm meant readiness, and readiness meant food, fuel, medicine, all the things the mob didn't have. So how do you protect yourself? You don't fake panic. You mirror it. You let your tone shake when you talk outside. You mumble. You act frustrated. If people are running around with flashlights, you join them for a minute. You look powerless. You act confused. You curse the government, the electric company, whoever. Blend in with the chaos. Because invisibility isn't just about shadows and curtains, it's about psychology. And inside your home, you train your family the same way. No laughing, no singing, no calm voices near windows. Out there, panic is camouflage. Stillness is suspicion. Confidence is a crime. When the grid dies, civilization drops its mask, and the calmest face in the crowd becomes the next target. You don't survive the first night by being strong. You survive it by being forgettable. That's all 10, but the truth? They're not just mistakes. They're habits of normal life that get weaponized against you when everything collapses. Light, sound, smell, speech, routine, calm. Each one becomes a signal, and signals get hunted.